Following the disputed elections held on August 23, Mnangagwa was sworn in for a second term on September 4th amid a low attendance of invited African leaders. Only 3 of the 16 SADC presidents, Ramaphosa, Filipe Nyusi of Mozambique, Felix Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of Congo, cared to attend his inauguration ceremony. Ramaphosa was one of the 3 SADC heads of state present during Emmerson Mnangagwa's inauguration as president of Zimbabwe. 12 heads of state from the SADC declined the invitation when observers discovered irregularities and fraud in the election process. No head of state from the remaining 51 African nations attended. Instead, a retinue of ambassadors and junior ministers served as representation. Deputy Minister for International Relations and Cooperation, Kenneth Mashihodlamini, justified President Cyril Ramaphosa's attendance at Emmerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe's inauguration ceremony last night, telling the MPs that it was procedural. Come on now. Even that excuse probably sounded stupid in the minister's own ears. Literally 12 heads of state declined the invitation or sent somebody to represent them. If Ramaphosa didn't want to attend, he wouldn't have. He wasn't forced to. Don't make that excuse. Okay. Elections are frequently rigged, and people who challenge the corrupt and ineffective political and economic status quo are assassinated or beaten to a pulp. We've witnessed what has been happening in Zimbabwe since the elections. Okay. The only organization that can stop this is SADC, a regional association of 60 nations that has electoral rules that every member of state must abide by. With the assistance of South Africa's ruling party, the African National Congress, also known as the ANC, ZANU-PF has been able to consistently disregard these protocols for the last 23 years. Because the ANC controls the most complex and diverse economy on the African planet, both what it says and doesn't say in SADC counts. So which is why we are pleading for Ramaphosa and the ANC to take action against what is happening in Zimbabwe. But hey, it's falling on deaf ears. Despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, the ANC recently approved the chaotic elections in Zimbabwe as democratic. Overwhelming evidence to the contrary, the ANC recently approved the chaotic elections in Zimbabwe as democratic. It referred to the head of Zimbabwean opposition as a puppet of the West and declared that it would still support ZANU-PF. Indirectly, it referred to the millions of people who supported the opposition as puppets of the West. Y'all see what's happening? The ANC is openly supporting corruption. I mean, we get it because the ANC is corrupt too. In a way, it might be because they're afraid that if the opposition in Zimbabwe is to win, the opposition in South Africa might see it as an opportunity and, get motivated that, and dethrone the ANC. Because they are effectively, openly, in front of the whole world, supporting the corruption that is taking place in Zimbabwe. But anyway, the ANC only openly supports the factors that lead to illegal immigration in South Africa, possibly due to corrupt motives, while at home it insults the Zimbabweans by urging them to return to their own country. Where are they returning to? Where are they returning to when they are playing a role in supporting the corruption by helping ZANU-PF stay in control of the country? Because ZANU-PF keeps damaging. There are no jobs in Zimbabwe. The healthcare is rubbish, and they are urging them to go home. Where are they returning to? If they don't want Zimbabweans in this country, they should make sure that they stick to the correct side and make sure that ZANU-PF is removed. Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, is standing behind President Emmerson Mnangagwa despite the egregious electoral fraud and human rights abuse that Harare continues to perpetrate against its people. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula remarked in a series of tweets in which he appears to praise Mnangagwa and his party. Do y'all see what the ANC is doing? The ANC is playing a role in ruining the lives of all the Zimbabweans and then trying to chase them from the country. If they don't want the Zimbabweans in here, they should stop supporting the fraud and corruption. At the 78th UN General Assembly on Tuesday, Ramaphosa advocated for the lifting of Western sanctions against Cuba and Zimbabwe. The sanctions imposed on Zimbabwe a neighboring country of South Africa, should also be reappealed because they are causing tremendous misery to ordinary Zimbabweans and have a harmful knock-on effect on the other nearby nations, including South Africa. While we all might be down, we're all supportive of the sanctions being lifted. We want them done the correct way. How will the sanctions be lifted when they can see that no improvement is being done in Zimbabwe? The corruption is at its highest. Why would they lift the sanctions when these people are actively lying in front of the whole world? The sanctions should not be lifted until justice is served, until the ZANU-PF is removed from being the ruling party. The shortcomings in leadership within Zimbabwe's ruling party, ZANU-PF, are having severe impact on South Africa, causing migration turmoil and adding to the strain on the nation's social services. Mmusi Maimane, a former leader of the opposition in South Africa, voiced his opinions at the UN General Assembly, where he criticized President Cyril Ramaphosa's stance on Zimbabwe's sanctions. By supporting this dictator, you are on the wrong side of history and harming both South Africans and Zimbabweans. You have made the decision to support the oppressor. South Africa is forced to pay a price for Zimbabwe's repressive government. We pay for social services, housing, healthcare, according to Maimane. An estimated 700,000 Zimbabweans reside in South Africa, with many of them migrating there illegally in a quest of better lands. Many Zimbabweans living in South Africa are in desperate circumstances, fleeing the economic depression in their home countries north by taking refuge in abandoned structures. In his remarks at the UNGA on Monday, Ramaphosa claimed that the illegal sanctions on the West had put on Zimbabwe. In his remarks at the UNGA on Monday, Ramaphosa claimed that the illegal sanctions the West had put on Zimbabwe had resulted in an influx of Zimbabweans into his nation. The sanctions that are also being applied against South Africa's neighbor Zimbabwe should also be lifted, as they are inflicting unspeakable suffering on ordinary Zimbabweans, but they also have a negative knock-on effect on the neighboring countries as well, such as my own country, said Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa's endorsement of rigged elections will bring more foreigners to South Africa, said the Zimbabweans. More foreigners will travel to South Africa in a quest of a better life as a result of South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's open endorsement of Zimbabwe's national election results. Zimbabweans living there stated on Friday. Nobody wants to leave their own home to go to a place where they're not wanted, but they do it because at times it is the difference between living and death. Both South Africa and Zimbabwe require leadership scrutiny. The leaders on both sides of Limpopo are responsible for the immigration crisis, yet it is the poor people that batter each other whilst the politicians are locked away in their mansions. Something must give. The citizens must wake up to the realities of corrupt and incompetent rule and not allow scapegoating to be used as a deceptive tool to explain failed governance. We've come to the end of this video. Make sure to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments, as well as to subscribe for more videos like this. Until next time.